Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Sam Zaranovich. I'm a chiropractor, and this is a little bit of a coming out video for me. I've been reading tarot cards since I was 14 years old. And the way I think about tarot is it's a map of symbols. It's a set of symbols that represent different states that human beings find themselves in, different circumstances that lives tend to go through, describes some of the processes of life. I don't really believe in magic exactly, and I don't really think that I can see the future, but if you're standing at on the West Coast and you're facing west, and somebody with a lot of scarves and a terrible Eastern European accent comes up to you and says, "Very soon, if you keep walking in this direction, your feet will be wet." That's all the tarot is. It's just that kind of prediction. If you're facing this way and you keep going, this is what's going to happen. So, with that said, like I said, I've been reading tarot cards for about 25, 26 years now, and have found a lot of value in understanding myself and understanding other people and the processes that people go through. And so I want to share a little bit of that, and I want to do it from a perspective of chiropractic, the spine, the body, the nervous system, and its healthy functioning. So with that said, I am teaching a class, the postures of the archetypal figures of the tarot, but what I mean by that is a lot of the cards of the tarot depict people doing things, and those depictions are meant to represent the energy of the card, the feeling, the experience, the state, the process. And so I want to start that conversation and give you a little bit of a teaser for it by talking about the Fool card. And I'm going to be using for this, I'm going to throw up a couple of images. One of them is from the very classic Rider-Waite tarot. It's the most familiar tarot art that you've seen. And as you can see, the Fool has his back bent backward. His heart is opening and projecting forward as he's walking towards the edge of this cliff. Let me show you another version of that card, which is from my personal favorite deck to read. It's the Osho Zen, and you'll notice very, very similar art, except the major difference here is that the Fool has in fact already stepped off of the cliff. The intended traditional readings for these cards, for this card, usually has to do with beginning a new adventure, diving into curiosity or wonder, or even diving into our own fear and finding a new beginning, a new process. The Fool represents a kind of ignorance. You'll notice he's walking right up to that cliff, but a sort of wise ignorance. It's the mind at the beginning of learning is the idea behind the Fool. And what I want to draw your attention to, since I'm a chiropractor and I'm talking a lot about body language, and this class that I'm teaching is about how to read bodies, the way that we read cards, I want to draw your attention again to the extension in his spine, the back bend, where his heart comes forward and his shoulders draw back. This is a really common posture that we see in people who are full of delight, full of joy, full of rapturous pleasure even. People who have just won a big victory, their backs tend to arch open. And so for me, the meaning in these cards has to do with what his posture is representing is that he is open to this experience of falling off a cliff. What I love about this Osho Zen art, again, is you'll notice that since his foot has already left the cliff, there's no way he can miss the fact that he's falling. But he's still untroubled, and it's that kind of, if you've ever fallen really hard in love, that kind of like, oh, I know this is kind of foolish and I'm losing control, but also like, yes to this. And that's the Fool. That's the energy of the Fool. That's the dynamic of the Fool, the beginning of learning. And so in my universe, this arched spine, this open spine, again has to do with the delight and the joy and the wonder that he is opening himself to. Let me, just to contrast that, talk about the Hermit card, again from the Rider-Waite. and then also from the Thoth Tarot. So this one's a slightly different deck. The imagery in this deck is a little bit darker, got a little more acidic edge to it, but still really beautifully made. And you'll notice in both of these, the Hermit has his head tucked forward a little bit, his spine curved forward a little bit. And what I want to say about this forward curve is that it's about inward facing. The Fool is about outward facing, stepping out into the unknown. The Hermit is about looking within to find answers, illuminating the interior spaces. That's what the lamp is about. Lighting the path to the self. That's especially true in the Osho. Here's the Osho. You'll notice it looks pretty similar. It's really about lighting that interior path, and that forward rounding is about that interior experience. People who are chronically depressed often have that forward head rounding because they're consumed by their inner experience. And that forward head rounding can also, that forward head position can also tell the body, look internal, look internal, look internal, find something wrong. Is there something wrong? What's going on in here? The Hermit represents the positive aspect of that, the look inside. Really dig in and look and find it so you can bring it out and show when you're ready. And so here are just a couple of examples of the kinds of stuff that I want to be talking about in this class that's coming up. You can sign up below. You'll find a link to the Eventbrite. But also just a way to begin looking at the symbolism of the tarot, and if you're not super duper familiar, that's fine. This should be introductory, and in this class I'm mostly going to be covering the major arcana and only just a few of them to just get started. But if you are more familiar with the tarot, great. I really invite you to come and participate in this conversation because I think it'll really elevate it. I want to talk about the ways in which different artists in different decks depict the energy, the tone, the meaning of the cards using the posture of the figures, the people represented in them. So if that sounds like fun to you, if this has been even a little bit interesting or tickled something inside you that you want to hear more about it, by all means come and sign up for the class. And also stay tuned, I'm going to do a couple more of these videos with a couple more cards that I'm excited to share with you. So if you have any questions, drop a comment, send an email, or reach out and give us a call. Thanks for watching.